So a little while ago, somebody donated to one of my streams and they were asking for advice. They had just turned 20 and they were looking for tips to, I guess, maximize their 20s. And I gave them some advice, but I really wasn't happy. The advice was good, but the amount of advice that I gave, as well as the way that I explained the things that I said, I wasn't really happy with. So I decided I'd make a video. What we have here today is the first 10 pieces of 20 bits of advice that I needed when I was 20 years old. And it's stuff that I needed to know when I was 20 because I really don't know exactly what everybody else needs. I can really only go off of what I needed and how I was when I was 20. So not all of this is probably going to apply to everybody, but I hope that it at least helps a little bit with some of these. This was going to be one video, but by the time I finished it, I realized it was way too long, so I'm cutting it into two pieces. The second part will be out soon. So with that said, number one is embrace the adventure that is life and understand you can't win them all. Some wins will be losses long term, and some losses will be wins long term. And this is actually something that I tried to say to him in the stream. Some of the best things that ever happened to me came out of some of the worst things to ever happen to me. You're not going to know it at the time when that bad thing happens to you, but it's setting you up for something good. And this sounds like some Facebook wannabe inspirational stuff, right? I mean, I guess it kind of is in a way, but it is the truth. And you're going to have to keep on working. You're going to have to keep on trucking. You're going to have to make it through the bad times and just see what you can get out of the situation. In addition to that, some of the best things that happen to you can set you up for some of the worst things that are going to happen to you, because you'll end up in a situation where you get a big win and then you start celebrating. And in the middle of the celebration, someone's like, hey, you want to do some coke? And you're like, hell yeah, dude, I just got a big win today. You do a line of coke, and then you do another, and another, and another, and then soon you're addicted to coke or whatever drug, right? What it comes down to is you got to be careful, you got to be on the lookout, and you got to keep working to make good things happen. So number two, this is a really, really important one in my opinion. Drugs and alcohol are a bad idea, and you don't learn anything from them. Don't waste your time on them. If anything, do it for the money you'll save, right? There's tons and tons of people, especially nowadays, that drug laws are being more lax. You're seeing them talk all about how, like, oh, ketamine can cure depression. Mushrooms have really been known to help kill the ego, and because of that, people become one with the world and each other and things like that. It's bullshit. It's false, right? The ketamine thing, I don't know that much about, but I guarantee you it's probably not exactly what it seems. Magic mushrooms don't help you with anything. Acid doesn't help you with anything. Weed doesn't help you with anything. It's not gonna do all of the profound and deep things that you think it's gonna do. If anything, it opens you up for bad things. And I don't just mean like, oh, you're gonna be lazy, you're gonna be this, that, the other thing. I've seen people take drugs and do absolutely insane things on them. I've seen people take drugs and they are never the same in a bad way. Not in a good way. Not, oh, they had an ego death and they're better now. No, like they are like severely anxious and they are all screwed up because of them. Your DARE officer was correct. It's just he was a dweeb, so you didn't want to listen to him. And I was the same way. You know, oh, officer dickhead, that guy's a nerd. Why would I want to listen to him? You know, but he was correct about almost everything that he had to say, if I'm just being honest about it. And I don't know, you're probably going to think I'm a dweeb or something like that. You know, I'm a square. But you're better off just not doing all of that stuff. I said do it for the money, right? If you pick up a drug habit, whether it's an addiction or not, you're going to be spending a lot of money. And you're going to look back after you're done doing all of whatever you're doing, and you're going to be like, yo, I must have spent like 10 to 20 grand. What if I had that in my hand right now? Imagine the things that I could do with that. Number three is take risks while you're still young, because if you bet the house on a move you're sure will come through but it fails, you will have time to get it all back. And I want to remind you, this is advice that I would give myself. I am not a financial advisor or anything like that. You should not take this as fiscal advice, but this is advice that I wish I could tell myself here. I had finance in mind when I wrote this, and if I was 20 and I lost everything that I had, it would suck. It would really, really, really suck. but it would not hurt me in the way that losing everything I have now would. It would be a lot worse for me to lose however much money I have now than it would be when I was 20, because I don't have as many responsibilities back then as I do now. And then in addition to that, I have so much more potential to make money, and I have so much more time to make money, that I could have much easier put my nose to the grindstone and made all of that money back. This is something that financial advisors will talk about. I don't necessarily think they'll tell you to bet the house, but they will say that when you're younger, you want to invest more aggressively. And when you're older, you want to invest more conservatively. One thing you got to be careful of, though, is not betting with other people's money, all right? If you bet your own house, that's one thing. You don't bet somebody else's house, because then you owe them a house if they end up losing it. And you got to be very, very, very careful with that kind of thing. So number 4 is another huge one, and that is be careful not to fall under the influence of shysters, whether it's friends, a girlfriend, or a fatherly figure. And this one is so huge because it has to do with time and energy. When it comes to money, you can get money back. That's kind of what I was saying with number 3. But when it comes to time and energy, once you have expended that, you cannot get it back. And it is really, really hitting me hard now that I'm about to be 30 years old in a little while, because I'm turning back and I'm realizing, like, yo, I'm never going to be 20 something again. That is what it is. Everything's set in stone. You don't want to be 27, 28 and realize that you got taken under the wing of a guy who you thought was going to help you out, but really he was helping himself out the entire time. You know, you had a girlfriend who was just like an awful person to be around, and you wasted like 4 or 5 years of your life trying to make it work with her and things like that. Shysters are everywhere, and they come in a lot of different forms. Be very good at managing your time and your energy, and one of the ways that you're going to do that is by making sure the people that you surround yourself with will not abuse you or those things. Number 5 is very good in conjunction with number 4, and that is don't put all your eggs in one basket and you won't get stuck there. Having options is a good thing. I'm not telling you to be what I believe Sam calls a dabbler, right? You don't want to just be messing around with like 500 different things that you put like 1% of your energy into. You're going to have to put the majority of your time and energy into one thing in order to get good enough at it as to where you can make money on it. Put your time and your energy into that thing. Don't put it into a person or a business or whatever it is that you have to go and deal with in order to do that thing. The reason this is so important is because if you get attached to a person or a place or a business or whatever it is, if that place starts to go off the deep end, you're going to end up going off with it. You're not going to have anywhere else that you can go to in order to keep getting whatever it is that you need or to keep doing what it is you need to do. You're just going to be on a sinking ship, and that's it. Like I said, it's very good in conjunction with number 4, because you're going to find that there's shysters out there who they provide you with something, and then as time goes on, you get more and more attached to them, and then they're going to end up pulling the rug out from underneath you, and you're not going to be getting what you need out of them anymore. You're just going to be giving them something, and you don't have any other relationships with anyone or anything else that you can go to, so you're just kind of stuck with that guy. Number 6 is girls don't matter, don't bother trying to fuck around, and don't worry about meeting your soulmate at age 22. And that's right. Girls are icky, all right? Ew, girls, ew. I'm not the first guy to notice this. I'm not the first guy to say this. If you are trying that hard to get women, you're not going to get women. And there's a couple of different reasons for that. And one of the reasons is because you're not going to be doing the stuff that you're actually supposed to do. You're not going to be focusing on whatever skill is going to make you money, and you're not going to be attractive to these women. You're going to be better off just focusing almost exclusively on whatever skill you're trying to develop and things like that. And then a woman will come around and make herself available to you. That's the thing, is that men don't chase. Women make themselves available. That's the truth of women. A lot of guys think, oh, dude, I got game. You know, that dude's got game. This guy's got game. Men don't have game. Women just open themselves up to us. That's just the truth. So if you're running around and you're like, oh, dude, I got to find a woman. Oh, man, I want to be married. Oh, dude, I need to find my soulmate. You're not going to find her, because she's not going to make herself available to you, because you're not someone who does plumbing. You're someone who chases women around. They're going to smell the desperation. In addition to that, even if you do get women, they're not going to be good women, and they're not going to be women that are worth your while, right? Even if it is a good woman, chances are it's not going to last either. you're not going to be able to find a stable relationship. So don't worry about trying to find a stable relationship when you're 21, 22. Worry about getting good at whatever it is you need to get good at. When you're 27, 28, maybe you'll bump into a girl and you'll strike up a conversation, and then, a year or two later, you'll be tying the knot or something like that. Number 7 is you're going to go through periods of being up and down. Sometimes you'll be 30 pounds overweight for a year or two, and then you'll get it under control one day. You'll be generally happy with life, and then you'll be stressed. Just take it easy and work on the problems. Don't overstress about them. And that was a long one, and I wrote that down that way because I wanted to make sure I made each point as concisely as possible. That's just the fact, right? I'll be honest with you. I've been overweight for a few years now, and it's been tough trying to lose the weight in more ways than one. If I sat here beating myself up for the last however many years, if I was like, I'm fat, oh man, I'm a piece of shit. If I was like genuinely like hating myself over it, I would have just hated myself for nothing for multiple years, right? The problem still isn't quite solved. So it would have just been negative energy that I'm throwing at myself for literally no reason. And who knows where I would have gone from there, because you kind of become the way that you think about yourself. And if I thought negative things about myself, I probably wouldn't be in a very good spot right now, right? Things happen, and you just have to keep on plugging away. You just got to take it day by day and do the things that you need to do, and any problems that arise, whatever they happen to be, just take care of them at whatever pace you're able to take care of them at. Just chill out. Take it easy on yourself. Number 8 is your friends now probably won't be your friends the same way in 5 years. And they've actually done studies on this, and they found that every 5 to 7 years you end up being surrounded by a new group of friends or peers. I 100% believe it, because that is what I've noticed in my own life. Every pretty much 5 or 6 years, like clockwork, I end up surrounded by a new group of people. It's kind of crazy. You have to be willing to let people go. Right? You can't hold on to these friendships too tightly, because you're going to keep people from doing what they need to do to live well, and you're going to keep yourself from doing what you need to do to live well. These friendships don't typically dissolve or drift apart because people don't like each other or anything like that. It's because in order to live a proper life, this guy needs to go do something else, and I'm not going to be there. And he's going to end up making new friends when he goes to do that other thing that he's doing, right? And if I hold on to these friendships too hard, chances are we're going to be friends for a lot longer than we probably should have been, and that's going to create tension between us. We're going to go our separate ways finally after like a big fight, because there was resentment that was building because we weren't able to do the things that we needed to do. And I've had that happen before. When it comes down to it, you need to live your life, and your friends also need to live their lives. And you don't have to go your separate ways on a bad note or anything like that. You can still be cool generally, but you're just not going to see each other the way you used to, and that's perfectly fine. You will make new friends, even if you go through a phase where you don't really have anybody to hang out with or talk to or things like that. And then in addition to that, one more thing I will add is friendships when you're 20 are not going to be the same as friendships when you're 29. I have people that I consider to be friends that I don't see them every day, and I don't even talk to them once a week and things like that. Number 9 is get good at staying home and doing stuff that doesn't require you to spend money frivolously. That's actually how I got into YouTube. And that's going to help you in multiple ways. It's going to help you stay out of trouble, and it's going to help you to save money so that you can invest it in ways that are going to make you more money, that it's going to make your life better. In addition to that, it's a good way to learn new skills and stuff like that. That doesn't mean you never go out. It's like I said, number 1 is embrace the adventure that is life, embrace the randomness and things like that. And that's going to require you to leave your house every now and again. But in between the adventure, in between the things that you're doing, because it's going to make your life better, it's going to make your life more interesting, and all that other good stuff, be able to just chill. Number 10 is one that I definitely needed when I was 20, and that is, you aren't going to change the world. You may think you can, and you may want to, but you won't. Doesn't mean you have to accept the awful bits of the world. You can live just fine without feeding into them, though. And this is one that, again, it was a little bit longer, but I wrote it the way that I wrote it because I want to absolutely positively make 100% sure that I will not be misunderstood in what I'm saying. You're going to see awful things in the world, all right? I see awful things in the world. It's not like you have young person vision where you can see things that I can. I see everything that you see, and I probably see more because I have more experience with the awfulness of the world. Not to sit here and be like, you'll understand when you're older, but it's just the truth. I've been dealing with this screwed up, unjust world for longer than you. You're better off, instead of trying to start a social movement, instead of standing around with signs, instead of trying to fight people who you disagree with and things like that, like has been what's going on for the past like 7 or 8 years. It's kind of crazy we're seeing that in this country. You're going to be better off just chilling, taking care of yourself, and taking care of your immediate surroundings. Take care of your community, take care of your family, and things like that. And you're going to find that if you do want to change anything, that's what you're going to change. You're going to like totally 100% be able to do that. And the world around you, your immediate environment, is going to be so much better off because of that. Don't worry about trying to, take down the corporations, dude. Don't, relax. Don't worry about who's behind it, what ethnic group may be behind it and things like that. Relax, dude. Chill out. And also, if you do think you're going to change the world, right? If this isn't enough to get you to, just calm down, the way to change the world is not going to be screaming at people on Facebook. All right? That's a big one. That's a huge one.